Welcome back everyone. Quick short video, just sharing something that I found that I thought is really interesting. There's this stitch generator for Blender with 50 seamless ornaments. Absolutely remarkable. Now this might not be new, but nevertheless I want to share it. And I'm going to share the reasons why I want to share this as well. The handmade design feature in the add-on suit model and historic visualization. Now, ironically, I remember once when I was modeling a watch in Blender and the stitching I had to do it manually, using a tutorial on YouTube. And I was just wondering like this is the most encumbersome thing to do. If there was just a simple way to do this, it would be fantastic. If you're paying attention to this GIF, then you probably understand that there is a simple way to do this. Just select the edge loop, select the loop of the vertice and simply generate a stitch. Holy shit. That is remarkable. I haven't tried it. This is not me. I'm just sharing this from an article that I think will be very useful for a lot of people, especially myself. So I got a comment a couple of weeks ago, maybe a few weeks ago, someone saying, when are you going to create a interior designing course? And I'm like, I have no intentions of doing that anytime soon. Maybe later this year. It's just not one of my top priority. My top priority right now is hard surface modeling, hard ops, box cutter, and 3D sculpting in Blender. That's my priority right now. But then I got an idea. I started seeing these, interior design. And one of the reasons why I haven't really done much on interior designing is because interior designing, or at least the current interiors that I like, they look super complex, really complex. And that can sometimes be off-putting. So, something like this, like if I was going to model an interior, I'd want it to look like this. This is not me, by the way. This is purely Portia. But now that I'm learning a little bit more about, just how Blender works in terms of UV unwrapping, UV, a bacon as well. I'm learning a bit more about texturing as well. And now, a part of interiors is that they usually have stitching. There's usually some form of stitching. It's not excessive in this model. You can see it a little bit right there, but it's not super, just a little bit right there, but it's not excessive. So an interior like this, I could do this because I don't have much experience in this. So I'd rather start with interiors that are a bit more straightforward and simple. And that's what I said. Why don't I just model an interior that's straightforward and simple, but of a vehicle that I actually like? That vehicle, well, the vehicle brand will be Neo. I've sat in one of these vehicles before, and it's remarkable. It was so damn sexy. It's so incredibly nice to sit in one of these vehicles. It was so minimalistic, but also just refined, and it felt premium. And it was the Neo ET5, which looks a little bit similar to this, but this is the ET7, which is a little bit more like a competitor to the Mercedes S-Class, or a competitor to the BMW 5 Series, or a competitor to the Audi A5. But remarkable interior. I mean, the rear is a bit more complex. I didn't really think about that when I was making the video, but nonetheless, there are stitches, and I'm always thinking to myself, if that's just one area that's always bothered me and I'm able to just overcome it, it might actually make this process a lot easier. And here's how I originally thought about modeling, because I'm still new to this. I've always thought like, look at this. You see those little holes within the fabric? Like, do I have to manually model that in Blender? No, you don't. That's just a texture in Blender. That's just a texture. And if you do that, and if you know how to work with textures in Blender, you can actually make it look as if it's actually a real transparent hole that's going through the fabric, instead of having it looking like just like something out of a video game. It can actually look way more realistic if you know what you're doing. So it's these simple things about 3D that if you're new to 3D like I am, you don't really understand. But that's why it's important to never stop learning. Just keep on learning. There is a little bit of stitching probably on the steering wheel, maybe not. It's not that much, but in cars interior, there's always some form of stitching. So I like the idea of working on a few cars interior, but the idea of stitching terrified me. Look at that. Look at that material right there. Like I said, For me, originally thinking was, I've got to manually model that. No, that's just a material. That's just texturing. That's just depth to make it look realistic. And there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube that can help you to understand that and help you to accomplish a realistic look. And thankfully, I've had some friends as well who've given me some advice and shared some videos with me that are going to help me in this process. So it's just confirming that I do intend to model this car interior, or at least do my best and try. But I've already said, I'm not rushing this. I want to take my time. I don't want to be rushed. I don't want people asking me like, when's the next episode? I don't know. Because it's not a top priority for me right now. It's more like, it's just content. It's just part of my hobby. Nonetheless, I don't know how long this stitch generation or generator have been around. I don't know how long it's been around or been out, but it looks remarkable. It looks incredible. And, like the title says, over 50 different ornaments or over 50 different patterns, however you imagine it. And just seeing this GIF right here, just confirming just how simple and straightforward it is to generate this. My goodness. You see what happens when these things get explained to you, but also someone had to code this. Someone had to code this. And I know what you're thinking. If you're a coder, you're probably thinking, you know what, that's not that difficult to code. And then someone else might actually be, that is difficult to code. I don't know. I've never been a fan of coding. I'm more of a visual kind of designer kind of person. Even though I've always been interested in coding, tried it, I'd never really loved it. But designing visually, that's just my love language. Seriously. So this is just another example of how useful this stitch generator can be. It's remarkable. So I want to know, is there anyone else who's watching this video who's had history or, experience in using this tool? How's it been for you? Is it as easy as it looks? Or is there, something that I'm missing? But it does look remarkable, seriously. And as it says right here, if you create digital cloth or craft props like furniture pieces, and that's another thing I'm interested in. Due to the fact that I'm actually interested in creating a real furniture company in the near future, I've actually been telling myself, as a designer, I can start designing furnitures in Blender. Even though I don't intend on creating that real business anytime soon in the next 5 years. But long term, I will. And I'm like, well, I can start now. I can start designing furnitures from now. Yeah. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And this stitch generator just makes my imagination explode. It just makes it so much easier to approach this now. So the creator plans to release free regular updates for the tool. The upcoming feature includes a pack with more than 20 stitches selected by the community. That's remarkable. That's absolutely remarkable. And even the idea that you have to pay for this is, obvious. It is so good, depending on the work you do. Some people might not need this at all. Especially if you don't work on fabric stuff or interior stuff, you might not be interested in this at all. But if you're someone like me who's a little bit interested in it, you're willing to pay really good money for a software that helps you to accomplish this. Really straightforward, really quickly. No hassle. Yeah. And that's another thing as well. So the one time that I did do this, I created a watch in Blender. I'm going to try to find those. And I had to do the stitching manually, and I really, really, really didn't like it at all. And I've always wanted to create more watches. That's my design right there. So that watch design, the stitching, believe it or not, is done manually. I've always wanted to work on more watches design. And now that there's a stitch generator, do you see just how much more possibilities that are open up with a simple tool? A simple solution. Ooh, don't forget the Porsche. I've also been interested in designing a Porsche interior. Look at that beautiful stitching right there. Do you understand just how more straightforward this could help you to be in your work process? It's remarkable. Yes, I think I'm going to be getting that. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but I'm happy to share useful tools for the community. I can think of ways that this is going to be incredibly useful for so many people. I'm happy to share it for free. The creator doesn't have to pay me for this. I'm happy to share it. I'm thankful that they're making these useful tools for us 3D designers who don't want to waste time modeling stitches manually. There's a lot of things we wish we didn't have to do manually. but it's exciting. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Leave a like and leave a comment. And check out my car designing courses. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace.